welcome to another edition of Skyline Columbus. I'm your host, Steve Coach, and today we have our special guest, Marion Rita, who is director of the Mayor's Action Center.
Right.
Marion, very pleasant to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I thought I'd start by asking you, what is the Mayor's Action Center for the benefit of our viewers who may not be familiar with it?
Well, the Mayor's Action Center is basically a one-stop office where people can call if they're having problems with city services, either getting a service or maybe after they have a service not satisfied with what's being done. And then we've also developed into an information center where people call if they need to know where do I call if I have a welfare problem or if I need this or that. It may not even be city related, but they will call us to find out, because it's a one-number place, where do I call, or can you give me a name to contact?
So you don't have to burrow through the yellow pages to find this department or that person.
Right,
You've got one number you can go to.
That's right.
That's fantastic. When did it start?
We started in April of 1984.
So this idea has been around for a while.
Right. We're going into 8 years at this point. It was an idea that Mayor Reinhardt had when he was running for office. And what we did is we would go around into different neighborhoods and have meetings with people, with neighbors, and out of that develop this concept of having a one-stop shop so that if people have problems, which of course during these meetings they would relate to the mayor, he decided that they should have one place to call. He obviously can't talk to every one of them that call. He'd like to, but he can't. So that's why we're there. We're there so we can listen to the people and try to help them resolve their problems.
Has the operation grown since 1984?
Oh, it has, yes. It has, except we don't have any more paid staff. It's just myself and my assistant, but I now have 22 volunteers.
Ah, so you operate with volunteers?
Definitely, definitely.
Is that a large part of the operation?
Oh yes. The volunteers do a lot of things for us. They answer the phones, they take down the information, they enter information into the CRTs, they follow up with some of the complaints with the different divisions, and they send the letters out, and we couldn't operate without them.
How many people do you have working in the Action Center at any one time?
Well, some days we might have 6 people, other days we might only have 3 or 4 people. It just varies when they're available. We always need more too, by the way.
So you're looking for volunteers.
Right, right.
Is it an exciting job?
Well, I think so. I think if you like people, that's one of the biggest qualifications. You have to like people. You have to be very patient because some people call and they rattle on and never get to the point. And so you must be patient. You must sort through what they're telling you to get the details that are necessary to pass along to the department or to the mayor. And then, of course, you have to be a person who, one minute things can be nice and quiet in there, and the next minute it could be absolutely crazy, all the phones ringing at one time. So you have to be able to adjust to that.
So it takes a lot of communication skill.
That's right.
In order to work there. It probably also is a great learning experience.
Oh, it's a wonderful learning experience. And even I learn something new every day. There's always something to learn. We try to, in fact, we have an instructional booklet that we made up for the volunteers. But even that, you still have to go through the day-to-day process. You have to learn on the job, so to speak, and you do learn something new every day. There's so much involved in city government. We have 7,000 plus employees in many, many departments and lots of things going on out there, so there's always something to learn.
What's a typical day like at the Action Center?
Well, actually, a typical day would be perhaps 50 to 100 calls. A busy day could be as many as 200 calls or more if there's something special going on at the time. But basically, you take phone calls. Some of the people come into the office. We do get letters through the mail also that we respond to. But you would take the information down. You have to get the details. You then input that information into a CRT, and using electronic mail, it's routed to the appropriate department. The departments look at the problem, send out an inspector to check it out, and hopefully the inspector, let's take a pothole for instance, the inspector can say, okay, we'll write work order number whatever to fill this pothole. They send that information then back to us, back to the Action Center.
So you get to find out what's happening.
That's right. It's a good way to follow up on what's happening. You can't lose anything. You don't tuck it away and say, this isn't too important. Everything's important. We can follow up, and then we also can send a memo out to the citizen to let them know what's going to happen.
What's the usual time span to at least be able to check into something? Some projects, of course, may take a long time.
Right. Well, Steve, as far as a pothole, it could be 48 hours. But if somebody calls and perhaps requests a study for a traffic light, maybe they want a traffic light at a particular intersection, that's something that requires a lot of study, and it could be 1, 2, 3 months before they get a response on that. So it just depends upon what the problem is. If you have problems with debris in people's yards, there's a process that we have to go through, in other words, issuing orders to the person involved, and then you have to give them X number of days to resolve that, and then you have to follow up, go back out, see if they've done it. If they haven't, you send another letter. By law, there's many steps that you have to take, because if you ultimately end up in court with it, then you have to have gone through all these steps. Yeah. Or otherwise the judge will just throw it out. So.
How did you get involved with this?
Well, I've known the mayor, Mayor Reinhardt, for many, many years. I've worked with him before. I was working on his campaign at the time, and so I was involved in those neighborhood meetings that I told you about. And he just thought I'd be a good person for it, and so here I am.
So you've been with it from the beginning?
I've been with it. I helped set it up, right. I'm very proud of it, actually.
Well, did you have any models you could follow?
We did get some information from the Kansas City